my goodness. Look what time it is, Ryan.
Is it time? Is it hate watch time on McLaren?
It can be.
Because that's what I want it to be.
Well, I'm gonna need some alcohol for that, Ryan. So, do you have a shot?
Oh, of course I do, buddy.
Cheers, buddy.
Cheers, brother. In traditional fashion,
We're built different. Ryan, I'm drinking from Jason is with water, a lot of water. I just chase with more alcohol. Ryan, I feel like we need alcohol with how this championship's going. Let me ask you right away. How do you feel about McLaren winning their championship?
like,
Number
okay,
two.
it for the constructors aspect, good job, boys. Good job, Stella. Good job, Zach. Good job, everyone at the factory. We've talked about this. You know, they did a good job. They whooped ass. All of those things. I can still hate them though, and hate how they have managed this season in regards to the drivers' championship. And as we've talked about before, that's what we care about the most in this sport is the drivers' championship. We don't give a flying fuck about the constructors. Big whoop, you know. And it's just this race was frustrating on so many levels, Sam. Because one, it was a pretty boring race, if you ask me. I think it was pretty much a
A little
snoozer.
bit of a snoozer.
Yep. And then just how everything broke down with Lando and Oscar right off the rip, and then how the team handled that for the rest of the race, and how pissed off Oscar was. There's so much to talk about. So let's just start from the beginning, Sam. What did happen at the beginning of the race here?
Well, at the beginning of the race, Max took the lead and ran away with it and got 25 points on his nearest championship rival. And then, no, that's the delusional land that I wish would have happened. But instead, we got some drama. As you said, it was a boring race, but we got a little bit of papaya troubles. Race started, right? Lando, out of nowhere, gets an actually good start. Unheard of, you
Yeah,
might
once
say.
in his life.
Comes in too hot and hits the back of Max's car and then runs into Piastri and then gets the overtake on Piastri in a little argy bargy way. And I think the best part of that was Piastri getting on the radio and be like, that doesn't seem right. Lando just bullied me into the corner kind of a thing. And for McLaren's response to that was, oh, we'll take a look at it, Piastri. Don't worry. Let's head down, keep going. And then FIA says, hey, no further review action. No, nothing more to go. First lap incident. All is fair in love and war. And the thing that gets the most kind of heat right now is that that's how McLaren treated it. Hey, that's racing, Piastri. Gotta go. It's fine. We're going to keep the positions this way. And I think the most telling part about this whole thing, Ryan, Piastri goes, that's not fair.
Mm-hmm.
And it isn't.
Mm-hmm.
It isn't, dude. We talk about Piastri. I think is what's really interesting about this incident, Ryan, is separating what is right and what is fair. Because technically, yeah, I think Lando's pass on Piastri is clean. It's racing. It's fine. It wasn't clean. A little argy bargy, but it was fine. That is racing, and there's no reason for the stewards to do what they wanted. Some people have been giving Lando a lot of hate for his move. I don't think so. I think Lando did the right racer's move. He's trying to win a championship. He's trying to do what he can do. But this isn't about what's right or wrong. This is about what's fair, because Piastri has been getting the shit into this stick for a while now, and all of a sudden, it's not fair anymore. And I think Piastri's finally figuring out that he is number two. He's number two. He is second fiddle. He is understudy, and he is waiting in the wings for on Team McLaren.
And like you said, absolutely. It's what Lando did, nothing wrong. Honest to God, nothing wrong. Yeah, I would expect Max to do that same move. I would expect Charles to do that same move. I would expect Lewis to do that same move. No issues there. The issue is when you look at it in the lens of the Papaya rules and what has happened so far this season. And I would love to point out specifically the Austrian Grand Prix, where Lando and Oscar are duking it out, and there is just one close call when Oscar's
Yes,
trying to lunge in.
yes.
Doesn't even touch him, doesn't do anything wrong, just a little late and almost almost biffs it, and immediately his engineer's like, "Remember how we race." They did not do anything when it came to Lando over the radio and reminding him how they are supposed to race. That is a double standard. There is favoritism on the team. We've talked about it time and time again, but it's just becoming more and more blatant. And I hope this is the point where Oscar realizes it and says, "Fuck the rules. We got the championship. I'm going for mine now. I'm leading this shit."
Ryan, I'm so glad you brought that up because that was my exact point I wanted to make. And because you mentioned Austria, it unlocked that little squirrel in my brain to tell me what the other race was, and it was Hungary. Piastri does the same thing. He's trying to chase down Lando, locks up a little bit of smoke from his tires, almost hits him, doesn't, no contact whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
Immediately get on the phone. Hey, knock that shit out. That's not how we race in Papaya. That is unacceptable, right? Oscar literally gets hit by Lando. No phone call, no nothing. And not even like not even a little call to Lando saying, "Hey, that was a bit, you know, unfair. You need to watch yourself."
Yeah.
Piastri gets called out when he puts one toe over the line. Lando hits Oscar, which, mind you, when asked about what Papaya rules is, this is what Oscar had to say. It's very simple. We don't hit. We don't crash. He's like, a lot of people talk about how complicated the rules are. It's not complicated. We don't touch. Well, this time they touched. And apparently that's okay when Lando does it. And I think even Zach Brown said, hey, that's just hard racing. You know what else is hard racing, Ryan? Slow pit stops.
Mm-hmm.
Slow pit stops. And,
And you make them
Oscar,
swap because of a slow
you
pit
make them
stop.
swap. And yeah, it wasn't even, I think Oscar Piastri has a big bone to pick with McLaren, with how they treated him here. Because I think, looking back on it, and if he's truly bought into the zeitgeist of the rules of Papaya and how we're going to how we handle this championship, Monza happens, pit stop kind of goes wrong. Hey, give up the position. And he goes, okay. I disagreed with it. I was very upset with Oscar at the time, but it's like, okay, I'll give Lando the position back because, hey, that's the team harmony. That is what we have been building for. It's going to it'll come back around. We're on race 7. We're down the last 7 races. We're on race 6 now. It's not coming back to Piastri. It doesn't
Nope.
matter.
Nope.
It doesn't matter.
They will keep doing this, and they will keep favoring Lando until Lando is ahead of Oscar in the championship, if that even happens. And I don't even think that'll happen. Well, unless the fucking team meddles their way to making it happen, because at this point, I feel like that's the only thing that they're trying to do is make sure Lando gets the title. And another aspect of this too, Sam, and this might be a little too far for me, but even in Canada, when fucking Lando crashes his whole ass car and throwing it into the back of Oscar's,
Yeah.
it's not like they really held him too accountable. Like I know Lando immediately was like, "That's my bad, my fault," and good on him. That was the right thing to do.
No, you're right.
But I never heard anything from the team about them being like, "Yeah, Oscar shouldn't have, not Oscar, excuse me, Lando shouldn't have done that. That was dumb. That's not how we're racing." Nothing. He does that. It's like three blind mice. There was like, I can't see shit. I can't see shit. Fucking Oscar just sniffs at a gap and just misjudges it by a slight hair, man. And they're all over his ass sending in the SWAT team. And that's what's frustrating because Oscar is the better driver. On paper, on track, in mentality, Oscar's the better driver. They should just be giving it to him and let the boys fight. And they're still meddling.
I'm hoping Oscar learned a very valuable lesson today because something I told you about when the switch happened in Monza. It's like, no, you're fighting for every point. There's a part I could see if you truly in your heart of heart believe that I'm better than my teammate and I'll beat him at every track. But I want to disagree a little bit with what you said about he's the better driver than Lando. I think overall over a season, all encompassing, sure. But Lando has interesting tracks where he's good at. And I think this track actually did prove that Lando was the superior driver just on the lap by lap pace. Oscar had a hard time catching. Oscar had a hard time keeping up with him. I want to circle back on that specifically about the gap times, but Lando actually had a pretty dominating race. If Max wasn't holding up Lando, I think Lando would have moved all the way up to Russell. I think this track is just really hard to pass on. And so, but the point I'm trying to make is that you don't have the luxury of the Max versus Checo Perez or the Lewis versus Bottas, where one driver is significantly better than the other. No, I think it's almost a coin flip, maybe 60-40 on who's better on what weekend. And if that's the case, I mean, let's look at Monaco. Lando crushed it. He really did. There are these tracks that these certain drivers are better than the other person.
Yeah.
And so if that's true, then you need to take as much advantage of it as you can, kind of a thing. And to give up points like he did in Monza and Baku to a certain extent, you know, it's it's frustrating because if you lose out by 3 points, you know where you lost it from, right? And then all of a sudden this team's working against you. And yeah, so you might have been the better driver, like you said, week in, week out, and it's just not working out for you. And yeah, that's Ryan. My biggest takeaway is how Oscar comes back from this. I texted you in the heat of the moment when in Monza, when he gave the position back to Lando. I said, I hope Oscar loses this championship by 3 points. Like I want him to learn a lesson, but I'm hoping he learns a lesson from here. I'm telling you, Ryan, how Oscar reacts to this and how he acts in the next 6 races is going to determine how much of a fan I am of Oscar Piastri.
There is so much that is riding on this next race, Sam, and what we're about to see, because we're either going to see Oscar just fall in line and keep up the company policy, and if that happens, I've lost all appeal for him in general at that point. Both of them, honestly. At that point, lost it. Sorry. If he actually says, fuck it, I'm doing my own thing, and we actually see these two fight, I'm for it. Throw the gloves off. Let's see what happens with 6 races left. There's no reason to not do it because the championship's already decided for the constructors. It is an open door now.
Exactly.
The team rules are out the window. It is now your biggest rival, and that is your teammate, and you need to be cutthroat. That's for Oscar and for Lando. I want to see that. And if we don't, it is going to be so disappointing because I just feel like we are going to get the most, I don't know, Mickey Mouse drivers champion,
It feels
whoever it's going to be.
it feels such a lack. If we'll get into this a little bit more with Max, but if Oscar Orlando wins this championship by some BS papaya rule stuff, it's going to really feel like this team tripped and stumbled and rolled down the steps to the finish line and won. And it's
Mm-hmm.
just going to be like one of those. And then I will say it kind of taints your championship a little bit. Like, yeah, you won because you had the most dominant car and you tripped over your teammate, and papaya rules helped you out a little bit. And to me, there'll always be a little bit of that caveat. Whereas, and we discussed this last week, I won't get into it too much, but when Lewis has a dominant car, he kills the championship. There's no question. When Max has a dominant car, he kills the championship. There's no question. When Lando and Piastri have a dominant car, which they do, Ryan, because they won this championship 7 races ago, which ties Red Bull for
Mm-hmm.
winning the championship at the earliest point, which means the McLaren car on paper is as good as the 2023 Red Bull car, which is the best
Yes.
car made in Formula One history. On paper, it is that dominant. But yet, here we are talking about the intricacies of team dynamics and politics. And it's such a shame because it really should be, because this is something that you talked about all the way in race one, race two, and three. It's going to get heated. It's going to get tight, and we're going to get there. And I feel like if it doesn't get there after this, then nothing will. And I agree. If nothing happens, I lose a lot of respect for Oscar specifically. And I'm so mad at McLaren. I really am. This season started off with everybody glazing McLaren for letting their drivers compete with each other. Thank God that they are competing with. Thank God we have a team that lets both drivers fight each other with an asterisk. With an
What fight?
asterisk.
What
As
fight?
yeah. As the only fight we call off Oscar anytime.
What is it? A pillow fight?
Yeah, dude. No, Oscar gets too close in Australia, and like Max, I think, was leading at that point. Oscar, hold off. Don't fight yet. No, no, no. We need to get both cars through before we take on. So Oscar backs off. Oscar, that's way too tight. That's not how we race. Oscar backs off. Oscar, we fucked up. Lando had a bad pit. Please give it back. Oscar does it. Lando hits you. That's racing.
So let me ask you this, Sam, because I've asked this question before. in a different lens. Earlier in the season, I asked you if Oscar wins this championship, does Lando go somewhere else? I'm going to flip that question around. If if McLaren meddles their way into this to make it to where Lando somehow gets this championship,
Hmm?
does Oscar go somewhere else?
I would hope
Does
so.
what like, at that point, what do you do? Because like, if I'm Oscar, I want the fuck out because after what just happened, you know that this team is never going to be on your side and you're going to be labeled the number 2 driver. Because then here's what happens is if Lando gets this championship at the start of next season, they're gonna be like, "Oh yeah, he's our champion. You gotta play second fiddle to him going forward." There's so much riding on for both of these two in their career for this championship. And I don't think that has been talked about enough across all media platforms. Truly, like whatever happens here is going to decide the fate of them, the team, everything. And I think McLaren is really trying to downplay the situation.
Ryan, this might be Oscar's and Lando's best chance at a driver's championship.
Mhm.
Nobody knows what next year will be like.
Yeah.
Nobody knows what the next generation of cars will be like. You know, it's one thing for I'll wait for it. It's one thing for, McLaren to have a strong car last year that transitioned into this year, gave him another constructors championship. There's nothing on paper that says that will happen again in 2026. And so if only one driver has a chance, they need to take it by the horns and grab it. And I agree. I think you're right. I think if Lando loses the championship, I think he stays at McLaren because he's the golden boy. No matter what. After this point, I think he's just the golden boy. I don't think they
Yeah.
care.
I agree with you with that. I think he is McLaren for life, or as long as they want him to be there.
And then Oscar, I think has a lot of different prospects elsewhere. One, he could be this guy's teammate, right? If Kimmy doesn't pan out in the next 2 to 3 years, I think Oscar could easily fit that role. If Leclerc moves or Lewis retires, I think Oscar could fit really well into Ferrari.
Mhm.
I think if Max retires, he could fit really well into Red Bull. I think Oscar is a very, versatile driver. Uh, I do want to talk about one fault that Oscar has, but I'll wait because I wanted to finish this topic with you. Um, but I think Oscar has some very good prospects to him, and and he's got a great manager. I just wish he manages him a little bit more. Weber tell him to put the foot down and hold your line. So
It
yeah,
surprises me. I would assume Mark has definitely had these conversations with him. It surprises me that we're just still seeing Oscar just be, I don't know, docile in the moment. And it's a huge head scratcher because we've talked about it. We've talked about his mental ability and how well he does on track in a lot of different situations,
yeah.
but he get flustered and he's just
Yep.
like, I don't know what to do. He was just so pissed off. And like, I don't blame him to be as heated as he was, but it wasn't helping him out either in this situation.
Yeah, maybe Oscar's not one of those people who can drive angry, you know?
Yeah.
If you watch the F1 movie, oh god, he's driving angry, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know if Oscar is one of those guys, but I'll tell you what, you saw Oscar hanging up on Zach Brown at the end of the race, right?
Oh, yeah.
That means, Brian, the
That is the
incident bet
funniest thing to happen this season, and I will stand on that. That is
dude,
fucking beautiful.
Zach Brown's on the radio saying, "Oscar, thank you so much. We got 2 championships in a row. It's beautiful." And what the really great part about that, Ryan, is the incident between Oscar and Lando, lap 1. That means for 51 laps, Oscar was pissed about that.
Mhm.
For the entire hour and 40 minutes of a race, that was on his mind the entire goddamn time.
Let's also not forget about this too, Sam. They didn't have Oscar out there when they were celebrating
I
for the
know.
Constructors Championship. That is also another fucked up thing. And I forget who was saying this. Another F1 personality I follow on TikTok, they were saying how, he was still in the press pool and all of these things, but you can easily pull him out for something like this. It's a Constructors Championship. And yet you decided to celebrate with your golden boy. The amount of favoritism is insane, man. And it hurt. I feel for Oscar. But again, if he doesn't wake up and actually take matters into his own hands, it's
It
his own fault at that point.
it it feels like Oscar is the adopted child of McLaren. and then they like celebrate the birthday way harder for Lando than they do for Oscar. And he
Hmm.
can just see that they just like him more. And it's just a shame. It really is.
I feel like Oscar is Harry Potter under the stairs.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, honest to God,
So
like
he's the chosen one.
yeah, he's the chosen one. He has more talent and skill in my mind.
Is Max Voldemort?
Yeah. I think Lewis is Dumbledore, I would
Dumbledore.
say. Yeah. Lewis is Dumbledore, and then Fernando is Snape.
I like it. I like it.
Yep, that's our F1 Harry Potter comparison. But essentially, though, like the way McLaren is treating Oscar is essentially like how Harry is treated in those movies, and in that whole series in general. Just keeping him under the stairs and just pretend he doesn't exist sometimes, and just
It's
hoisting up the one guy. It's astounding to me.
it's bizarre, Ryan, because McLaren went out of their way to secure possibly the best driver lineup.
Yes, yes,
I,
it makes no
the only
sense.
other the only other driver lineup that might be better is Leclerc and Hamilton. They just have a tractor of a Ferrari car to drive.
And
But
a
out of the
shit team behind them in general.
yeah, besides Mercedes and Red Bull, I think Oscar and Piastri is a super, super strong driver
Hmm.
lineup because if you think about if they actually had a championship battle, right? If they were actually fighting for people, you would have Lando winning certain races here and Piastri winning certain races there. It's a very strong lineup. It really is. It's two number one drivers. And the downside is that sometimes they'll fight each other a little bit. But you should embrace that. You should really like encourage that a little bit. But it's like they're scared. They're scared of enabling Oscar. It's so bizarre. It's so bizarre. Before we switch off into our next topic, there's one thing I want to bring up about Oscar. We because we do bring up the faults of Lando any chance we get, right? I think this race did highlight one fault of Oscar that I've noticed in the past that was really evident here, Ryan. And that's Oscar's strategic ability to question the strategy. They get on
Yeah.
the radio, Oscar, we're gonna go if there's a safety car. Do you want to pit, put on softs, go in for the charge at the end? And Oscar's like, I don't know, whatever you guys want, I'll do, kind of a thing. Oscar is not equipped to handle the strategy plus the physicalness of a racecraft. Some drivers can do both. I think Lewis can do both. I think Max can do both. Some drivers can do the strategy more than the driving. Carlos Sainz, you
Hmm.
know, and that
The
helps. But I think
tactician.
maybe Oscar, this is only his second year, give him some more time. But I think he's just so focused on what he's doing that he doesn't have the faculties to think through the strategy a little bit, which means he's relying on his team, his race engineer, to think those things for him, right? I'm trusting you, race engineer Brian, to give me the best strategy ever because I'm just too focused on this drive. I can't do both. But if your team is McLaren and they're favoring one side of the person, then how do you overcome something like that? I think it's a flaw that I think Oscar does need to work on.
Yeah. And I think that's where Weber needs to come in and kind of
Yep.
guide him and kind of tell him to be
Yep.
like, take the fucking team by the balls and just throw them around, slap them silly a little bit, flick them if you have to. Like, I mean, seriously, like, it's not like they are going to kick him out of the seat, man, if he fucking does what he wants at this point in the season. He gifted them this championship. They both did. If they fight, if they fucking crash those cars for the next 6 races, they've earned that because they already got the Constructors Championship. He just needs to feel comfortable with not be, with pissing off mommy and daddy. That's the last
Yeah.
thing I will say.
There's only one more thing I want to say about McLaren, and then we'll move on. And the only thing I have to say is the pit stop fuck up. Is this three in a row now?
I think so.
Is this three in a row? Which is bizarre because McLaren has the fastest pit stop ever on the record books, but they're also having some really bad fuck ups. And not there's this thing is multifaceted, Ryan. Oscar got into the pits and was held up for 5 seconds. Now I'm not complaining too much about that. Lando, I think out of the 7 bad pit stops that they've had, I think Lando's had 6 of them. So
Yeah.
that's racing, baby. That's nothing new. Here's the thing though. Oscar lost to Lando by 2 seconds,
Mm-hmm.
2.4, something like that. He lost 5 in the pit lane. If he had his regular pit stop, or if he had his regularly scheduled pit stop of 2.2, that's maybe one chance to get a lunge on Lando. Who knows?
And I
So
and I guarantee you they would have been like, remember how we race? Remember how we race, Oscar?
Oscar, make sure you take that perfectly. You have to pass him absolutely
Uh,
perfectly
did
on
you drive
track in the lines.
did you give him 10 feet of space? If you didn't, give
Did
it
you?
back.
Yeah. Did you pat him on the ass when you walked by? Because if you don't, Papaya rules. You give it back. Secondly, the second thing I want to bring up about this is that they asked Lando if he was okay with Oscar pitting first, right?
Yes.
They said, "Hey, Lando, would you mind Oscar pitting first in the off to help defend from Leclerc?" To which Lando said, "No, I don't want that because he learned from Monza. We're not doing that again. Fair play." But why was that a problem, Ryan? Why were they really trying to defend against Leclerc? Because guess what? He didn't get the first pit. He got the second pit. He was held up 5 seconds, and he still cleared Leclerc by like 3 to 4 seconds. There is absolutely no threat. This is my conspiracy, tinfoil hat. They were trying
Here
to
we
throw
go.
Oscar a bone. They were trying to throw him a bone. They were trying to say, hey, you got first pit. We're all good now, right? We made it right. We gave you first pit. I think that's what they were trying, because the explanation that we're trying to defend from Leclerc makes no sense. He was
Yeah.
fine. He literally had a slow pit stop and nothing bad happened at all. The way they were acting when Leclerc, the way he and Kravitz was acting, that this was the end of the world, that Oscar's having a slow ass pit stop, that he's going to lose positions, he was fine. So then what was McLaren worried about? I swear to God, Ryan, they were trying to throw him a bone. But Ryan, if Piastri and Lando finally start having, a little bit of a kerfuffle with each other, start throwing it down in the ring, it's a really bad time, because somebody is slowly but surely climbing up through those ranks. And I want to know right now, Ryan, what is your odds of Max Verstappen winning this championship?
I have more, and I was gonna bring this up. I am with majority of the F1 community in saying I have more faith in Max securing this championship than I do have Lando. Like, I don't think I do think, or maybe it's just a sliver of hope at this point. Oscar will pull it through, and he will, slap him silly, make a name for himself, and just do what he has to do. If he doesn't, and if the boys just start fucking up or whatever, I think Max has a better chance than Lando. I don't know what the odds are, but I put more faith in that than I do Lando. I
So
really
if
do.
it's not Oscar, then it's Max, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I have more faith in Max for sure. Even
This is
George
what
does. Even George said so. He said 100% chance Max is going to win it. And I know he was probably being
dude.
sarcastic, but still.
George is George was I like George for his little tongue in cheek comments like that. Um Max, I think Max is being Dutch about it. He said 50-50. He's
Yes.
like, I either win or I don't, kind of a thing. Uh, I think there's only one way for Max to win this, and that is for specifically Oscar to crash. Uh, I don't know what the points is now, but it was before this race. Max had to score 9 points on Oscar every race to win by 1 point. He did not do that. I think he won like 6 points this race, but it's a net positive. When
Imagine if they both crash out, Lando and Oscar next race, and Max
Ryan,
wins.
now here, I do think Max has a very solid chance of P2. I think he could very well to do that. Um, Here's the thing. Ever since the Dutch Grand Prix, the last 3 races, Max has outscored both McLarens every single time.
Mm-hmm.
Monza, Baku, Singapore. Max is bad at Singapore. Red Bull is bad at Singapore. Nobody expected the Red Bulls to beat. Nobody expected the Mercedes to beat the McLarens in Singapore. Um, there's no reason for Max to have gained any points this weekend. So the fact that he did that, it's one of those weird things where it's like, if he got the dub, if he got the win and Oscar got P4, P3, then it's like, yeah, championship back on. And if Oscar beat Max, championship off. But Max really hit that middle ground that he beat Oscar and Lando, but not enough to really make a dent in the championship. So it's definitely going to have to come down to Oscar DNFing. And Ryan, this is what I'm hoping. and I think every one of our listeners should be hoping for this too, that Oscar and Lando crash. Because if they crash, oh, the championship back on. Championship back on. He's going for 5.
We got to think about the upcoming races we have. We have Coda. We have Coda. Okay. That's already a good track in general. Good racing, great track. Love it. Max is good at that track.
He is good. And he made hey, let's do it. Let's go track by track. Last year, Coda, Max defended like a champion to Lando Norris, really played the penalties out, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he knows how to win with a slower car in Texas. Hell, even rewinded even more. He won against Lewis Hamilton in a slower car in Texas in 2021. Great race. If you want to watch a great race, that's a great race. In my head, you and me, who wins Coda?
Okay. I'm adding in some certain factors, and I'm pulling for Oscar in the fact that he's going to take charge. I hope it's a bounce back, but if it's not Oscar, it's Max. I will say that.
Okay. I think
And
Max wins.
Yeah. Okay. Then you got Mexico. Mexico is another interesting track.
I think that's Red Bull hands down.
I think it's Max too. I think Max takes that one easily. And then Sam, my favorite track, Brazil. Max. We saw him secure the championship last year, essentially, in Brazil in the most beautiful fashion possible.
We saw it together.
We did, and it will happen. I think Max, if he doesn't get Coda, he gets Mexico and Brazil easily, hands down. No doubt in my mind, Sam. After that,
Sure. I agree.
You have Vegas, which also is another good Red Bull track. Am I falling too much into the hype now? I might be.
It's fine. Choop. Someone has to. You know what, Ryan? I think Mercedes wins Vegas. I think George Russell wins Vegas, but I do think Max has a better chance. It seems like this Red Bull is better on the straight line speed than the McLarens are. What McLaren is good at is the fast speed corners or slow speed corners. Oh, they're not harsh on their tires, is what I'm basically trying to say. But I think Vegas is very similar to Baku. Straight speeds. It looks like an upside down pig. Just a couple corners, a couple chicanes. I think the Red Bull does really well against the McLaren specifically.
Yeah, I can see that. I think Red Bull, i.e. Max, takes Vegas. I do think a McLaren will take Qatar.
I did too.
I don't know who it'll be. I think it'll just depend on who's having a better day and who is willing to slash some tires and shoot some guns at the other driver. But I think a McLaren will take that one. And then we get down to the last race, Sam. Dubai. Abu Dhabi.
I think that's anybody's game.
That's a tough one. But you know what? Fuck it, Sam. Ferrari.
That'd be hilarious.
Lewis finally gets his first win, the last race of the season with Ferrari.
Out of the 6 races we have left, we're going to either go Max or Oscar for Coda, Max for Mexico, Max for what's after Mexico? Vegas?
Brazil.
Oh, sorry. Oh my God. Max for Brazil, Max for Vegas, McLaren for Qatar, anybody's game for Abu Dhabi. I think we have a solid chance. My only thing, Ryan, is engines fucking up for anybody. Anybody. This could
and I mean,
there's
definitely variables that we're not even going to know until the day of the track. Some of them, it's going to rain.
Kimi Antonelli being a terrorist. Who knows?
Yeah. Fucking, yeah, that's a big one. The fucking terrorist on track. You know what's
really funny, though? If Kimi wasn't a terrorist to Max in Austria, and if Max wasn't a terrorist to George Russell in Spain, Max would be sitting pretty.
Here's a we should honestly put a little note on this, Sam, is that, Max kind of did dig himself into this hole slightly with Spain.
I agree.
That was such a huge thing. And imagine this, Sam, the way we talk about Oscar, if he loses the championship by 3 points, if he loses the championship because of his fuck up and what he did in Spain, that would be crazy.
If he loses by 8 points, I would have to see what his position. Actually, I don't know how to find that easily. But whatever his position was in Canada, I'm going to say it's 8 points. If Max loses by 8 points, yeah, I'll put it down to Max's anger issues costing him a championship. If he loses by 8, yeah, big
Yeah.
time. Big time.
That would be crazy.
On the flip side of that coin, the Max stands, like the huge Max can do no wrong stands, like, if I'm top tier, they're S tier.
Yeah.
Those fans would say it's Kimmy's fault for wrecking into him in Austria.
Yeah.
But something you and I discussed was you have to overcome those problems. I think to me though, for nobody expected it. Nobody expected Max to win Monza. Nobody expected him to win Baku. Nobody expected him to outperform the McLarens in Singapore. If he does it, Ryan, I think it's the most generational comeback story of all time. Really.
It'll be quite impressive if he does do it. And I have hope that the last 6 races are going to be interesting because
I hope so too.
I was not pleased with Singapore. I really wasn't.
Ryan, well, aren't you ready for next year's Singapore? They're going to do a sprint race there.
Oh, yay. Oh, boy. Why do they pick the worst fucking tracks for these?
It makes no goddamn sense, right? I have no idea why they make those decisions.
Well, we'll just have to wait and see. We got a couple weeks until Coda. Hopefully that's a spicy race in a lot of different ways, and hopefully the fucking end result is wild and we get to talk about it a lot. But Sam, we have neglected this entire episode to talk about the actual winner of Singapore, and that is George Russell.
Oh yeah.
Dude does well, wins the race. Dude does well. Dude does nothing, gets pole.
Even this might be his most impressive win, right?
Well, yeah, because Singapore's a hard fucking track. Yeah. As boring as the race is, it's a hard track to fucking, let alone just race in, let alone win. And to win the way that George did, which was impressive. And we've been here for however long we've been talking about McLaren and Max, and completely disregarded George.
Dude, that's the best part, is that at this whole thing, George wins the race, nobody cares. Max might win the championship. Oscar's pissed at McLaren. McLaren wins the Constructors Champion. And honestly, when Zach Brown and Andreas Seller went up for the interview at the end, I was like, why the fuck are they interviewing these two guys? They didn't even win the race. Oh, yeah, they won the championship. Nobody gives a fuck. But, like, again, George Russell is just completely overlooked when it comes to these race wins.
I really hope Mercedes honestly has a title contending car next year, because I really want to see what George can do in a title fight, because he's good and he's been getting better and better every year. Sneaky wins, sneaky results, very consistent all season long. He really, and I know this is just the first season since, the Lewis era has ended, but I really do think George has really like taken the helms and yeah, he's really flourished and blossomed into the racer he is now. It's really cool to see. It just sucks that he's getting overshadowed by all the fucking drama and bullshit and politics of F1 that's happened this season. Because he's really put on some great results.
Never the Brad.
Yeah,
I agree. I would love to see him go for an actual championship fight when the stakes are high. I would like to see how he performs.
You know why I really want to see it?
Even today,
I want to see his post-race interviews, Sam, after a championship battle with whoever his rival will be, because every time he just has some great comments about someone. They are fucking beautiful. That man knows how to win the propaganda war.
He does. He's very British, and he knows his own stock. He knows what he is. He knows how to play it. And I think that's brilliant for him, and I love it for him. I really do. Enough about George.
Yeah. Our 2 minutes about George.
Do you want to talk about Ferrari at all, or you want to go on to our segments?
I mean, I'll just quickly say, I mean, I don't know. I had no hope that Ferrari doing good. I was very pleased that, they kind of survived the race. I mean, Lewis's brakes exploded in the last few laps of the race, and he shouldn't have been driving that car, but they were probably like, nah, good. Keep going, buddy.
No, that's the funny part, too, is that Lewis, they put him on the surprise strategy. I think they put him on the softer mediums at the very end. and they had him switch with Leclerc. And I was like, oh, that's kind of unfair with Leclerc. They made him switch, but hey, it makes sense because he took Kimmy. He was doing like literally the one time Lewis was doing good in the car, the brakes fucking catch on fire.
It's so poetic, man.
And
It's so poetic.
he loses out to Kimmy. He loses out to Leclerc. He almost lost to Alonso. Not that I saw it, because nobody saw it on the fucking broadcast.
Yeah, because
But
we're
he
too busy
almost
looking at fucking Zach and Stella just kissing each other on screen.
Exactly. He almost lost to Alonso. My only it's almost a non-story at this point, because it's like, yeah, he almost did good, and then Ferrari did Ferrari things. I know
But
we're not going to get into it.
That's Ferrari though.
That's the thing, Ryan. It's like
Ferrari.
we're not going to get into it because it's a non-story. You
You
already know the answer.
Okay, here's for all of our listeners that are also big football fans. Ferrari is not only the Dallas Cowboys, they're also the New York Jets. It's where careers go to die. So, like the Jets are known for being just a shit team, and if specifically a quarterback, if a quarterback goes there, their career is over. Essentially, it's just foregone. You're going to die, and that's kind of what's happening with Lewis right now at this point. And you have a double whammy of being on a shit team with Ferrari, and then you're also just killing your career too at the same time. So that's all I really have to say about them right now.
The only thing I have to say is that I think Lewis got enticed by the red and enticed by the paycheck,
Yeah,
because Lewis said, like, it was even he was not happy with qualifying. They had him sit out, I think either Q2 or Q3. They had him be the first in the line. He lost temperature degrees on degrees on his temperature of his tires. There's some interview where he said the whole process of Ferrari is just kind of wrong. They don't know how to, this is me saying, not Lewis. They don't know how to accurately battle for a race, kind of a thing. They don't have the process to effectively be a racing car team. You know?
they are just so stuck in the past, Sam. They are stuck in still the '90s with Schumacher. They really are, and
It's that's the thing.
I,
You can't a new team principal is not going to fix it. It's a new culture that's going to fix the problem, because it's not. They've tried it. They've gone through four different team principals in the last 15 years. They've got a couple of race wins. They had maybe half of a season in 2023, I think it was. They haven't won since Kimi Räikkönen in 2007 in a championship. It's rough, man. It really is rough. And I feel like, my only thing is that Lewis should have known that. He really should have. So I'm not entire. I already said it. He was enticed by the red and he was enticed by the paycheck. But hey, it comes. This is the flip side of that coin. This is the devil's deal coming knocking. You could have talked to Leclerc about it.
yeah,
He knows what it's all about. It's a shame, because it's going to put it. If a Ferrari's not good next year, which I have no reason to believe that they will be, it's just going to be a sour note to the end of Lewis Hamilton's career.
To give credit where it's due, honestly, Zach and what he has done for McLaren to completely
Yeah.
just change the culture and
Yes.
to change the organization from the ground up. It took
Yes.
years. It took so long to get where they are at now. And like I know we love to bitch about them for a lot of different reasons,
It's
and I think
impressive, though.
they are warranted for multiple aspects. But on the flip side of that coin, what he has done is truly impressive. And it's not just with the F1 team, it's with all the other racing series that McLaren's a part of. Like, Zach has really, really just taken them to a whole new level. And that's what needs to be done with Ferrari. I don't know who that needs to do that. I don't know. It's not Fred.
Christian Horner.
Fred, no. I'm not doing it. No. Can't,
You
Sam.
could do it. What if he did it, though? What
Sam,
if he did
I
it?
cannot support
What if?
Christian. I can't. Nah.
But what if
I
he
have
did it?
morals. I have morals, Sam. And they, my line
Not in
is
this sport,
fuck,
baby.
fuck Christian Horner till I die.
Not in this sport.
I would
son.
rather spend 50 years being miserable with Ferrari than to have Christian Horner come in and turn that team around. And I will die on that hill.
Listen, he'll just come in there, give yourself a couple championships, a couple race wins. He'll fondle a couple people. It's fine.
Yeah, just sexually harass the fucking employees. Yeah, great idea, buddy. But yeah,
allegedly.
But whoever it needs to be, it's not gonna be Fred because we already are seeing how he's handling these situations and the culture already. It's not Fred, but someone needs to come in and do exactly what Zach did
It's
with
whoever's
McLaren.
above. Well, here it's exactly Zach Brown is the CEO. He's not the team principal. He isn't. That's Andrea Steller. It's Fred Vasseur is the principal for Ferrari. It's who I don't know who it is. It's whoever's above Fred. It's an organizational problem. It
Yeah.
really is.
It's so
It's whoever.
crazy. It's
Yeah,
so crazy because I keep forgetting that Zach technically isn't the principal anymore,
he's not.
because like, he's always there, and I always just think
Which is
it's still Zach.
it's kind of respect that he's there because
Yeah.
he's the overseer of IndyCar, McLaren Racing, and he's gone to IndyCar Racing, IndyCar.
Endurance,
I
he's done, yeah,
Endurance. I'm trying to think of the Extreme E, the Eco Car, Baja driving kind of a thing. They also have a team as well. Like he's ahead
yes.
of it all, and it is impressive. To give the flowers where they're due. Zach has turned around a pretty F tier team into a very
Powerhouse.
dominant car. Yes,
Yeah.
and we have our problems. This is the McLaren glaze that we have been meaning to give. Uh, it's
Chat, enjoy this while it lasts. Doesn't happen
chat
often here.
chat clip that. you know, um, it's impressive. So yeah, Ferrari needs a shakedown. It just does. It just needs a shakedown.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's all I really have to say about Ferrari, though.
Well, you know, Ferrari has a lot to work on, and it's funny, Ryan, because they somehow still get what did they finish? Sixth and seventh, I think it was this race, maybe seventh and eighth, which
Yeah,
is an
something like that.
okay position. It's funny because they keep getting these like normal positions that you're like, oh, okay, that like on paper you look at it, you're like, yeah, they did okay, but they really didn't. It's just they're kind of middle of the pack. But I'm honestly kind of I'm interested to see where they sit on the Ryan point system. Ryan, can you please break us down what's going on in your world of the point system?
Thank God, Sam, that my point system exists because they are really being carried by that, let me tell you. Okay. So, Sam, unfortunately, nothing has changed in the constructor standings. Good news for me, honestly. So, McLaren, as we know, champions. They have 674 points now. Congratulations. P2 is Ferrari, 512 points. Mercedes, P3 at 499. Red Bull, P4 at 462.
Boo.
Williams, P5, 342. Racing Bulls, P6 at 316. Haas and Racing Bulls are the only two close teams right now against each other. Haas is at P7 at 306, so they're only 10 points behind Racing Bulls. Aston Martin's at P8 with 283. Kick P9, 266, and Alpine at P10 at 189. That's our constructor standings. Nothing really going on besides that.
Okay.
For the drivers' championship, 1 through 8 stayed the same. Oscar holding P1 at 347. Lando is 20 points behind in P2 at 327. I'm gonna have to keep checking, and we're gonna have to see as these races keep dwindling down. At what point does Oscar secure the championship for my point system at this rate? Because it's looking really good for him. Lando needs Oscar to DNF, and Lando needs to win a race for this to completely flip back for him to have any chance at this.
Because it's a 20 point for first, right?
Yes. So,
Yeah.
so if that happens, Lando's still in it, but right now his chances are dwindling fast.
Right now, Oscar, if this point gap stays the same to Qatar, Oscar wins Qatar because it's a 20 point gap.
He'll probably have the championship by then.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I will say, if you don't mind me interjecting, I find it very interesting that Kimmy is P8, 2 points behind Albon in a
mhm.
Williams, and he's behind both Ferraris. Like, I think we're gonna have a Kimmy episode at the end of the season. I just want that. I want that to be known
Yeah,
by the
absolutely.
aggregate score. Kimmy is P8.
Yeah. Hey, and we could talk about that for a lot of different aspects, Sam, and I'm excited to talk about that in Rookie Watch, but I also think that it plays a
Yeah,
factor
it does.
in him being in a Mercedes,
I
but
mean,
still,
you
it's
don't.
very impressive what he's been able to do so far.
It's funny because he's P7 in the real world championship. He's behind McLaren, Max, George, and both Ferraris, and he's ahead of Albon. But it's funny. It's fun that your point system has proven that actually, on an aggregate, Albon has done better than Kimi. I think that's actually a really good insight that you haven't heard from anywhere else. This kind of reporting's not on ESPN or Sky Sports, but you heard it here on Cooldown Rundown.
Yep, exactly. So just to quickly go through the rest,
Yes.
three at Max 317, George P4 315. Those two are still duking it out. Charles P5 264, Lewis P6 248, Alex P7 186, Kimmy P8 184. We have a three-way tie for P9 right now with Isaac, Carlos, and Oliver at 156 apiece, and they also all moved up quite considerably this weekend. Isaac moved up 2 positions, Carlos moved up 3, and same with Oliver. Good to see that. Yuki still holding his own at P10 at 155. He's only 1 point behind the boys that just jumped up. Nico P11 with 151. Esteban and Fernando had the worst weekend for the drivers. They both dropped 4 positions. Esteban to P12 with 150. Fernando to P13 with 147. Then we have another tie at the bottom of the grid with Liam and Lance at P14 with 136 apiece. And then P15's Pierre with 120, Gabrielle at P16 with 115, and Franco Colapinto holding up the rear at P17 right now with 59 points. That is our driver standings.
Oh, okay. I was about to ask where 18, 19, and 20 went to, but I realized that you have a couple people for 14th and I think 12th.
Yep, because
That makes more sense.
yeah, but essentially, yeah. For anyone that's curious, Franco's dead last. That's all you really need to know. Nothing new happening there for that man. But yeah, so that is everything going on in the Ryan's point system. And like I said, we are going to be monitoring week by week as the championship develops, at what point, if Oscar secures it, or if something crazy happens and Lando has a second shot at it again. But as of right now, it's looking like Oscar is going to have a command win for the Drivers' Championship. So yeah.
Hey, one DNF with your point system, Ryan, though, one DNF and one Lando win. He's right there.
Mm-hmm.
It's 20
Yes.
points?
Yep. 20 points
I mean,
exactly. It could come back. The pendulum could swing back at any moment. So we will have to see. I kind of hope it does. I kind of want to just see the chaos unfold on not only my point system, but in the real point system. I really want to see what's going to happen there. But yeah, but we already talked about it a little bit with Kimmy. What is going on in the rookie watch, Sam?
Ryan, I think it's actually a really kind of interesting weekend for the rookies. Very quickly, the qualifying, only 2 people got to beat their rookies out. Behrman beat out Ocon in qualifying. Behrman got P9, whereas Ocon got P17. Colapinto got P16 with his teammate Gasly getting P18. Now, in the race, I think Gasly started from the pit lane because they changed some stuff out. Also, we didn't talk about this race, but the Williams had to get disqualified in the qualifying. So take all that.
Haha.
The positions are still right because they beat their teammates, but the positions might be a little bit changed because both Williams drivers got disqualified from qualifying. What's very interesting, though, is that during the race, we had 3 drivers beat their experienced teammates. Gabriel Bortoleto got P17, which is a 3 points better than Hulkenberg. Hulkenberg spun out at that one point and tumbled all the way down to the 20th. Behrman kept his qualifying position, finished P9 with his teammate Ocon getting P18. So I feel like that's pretty impressive in and of itself. Colapinto position P16 with Gasly finishing P19. Gasly did start for the pit lane. A little bit of caveat there, but all of that's pretty interesting. The 2 major things that happened during the race, Ryan, is that Hajar had engine problems the entire goddamn time.
Yeah,
They
poor
told him on the
dude.
radio that they were like, you have, you're losing 2/10 a lap. And he's like, I'm sorry, man. You just got to do what you can do. And he's like, what the fuck am I supposed to do with that? So even though Hajar had engine problems specifically, he finished P11, which is 4 positions more than Lawson. Now, I know
Mm-hmm.
Lawson had a really good race in Baku, which a lot of people was like, oh, he's back. He's good. He's showing what he's got.
Nah, fam.
Flash in the pan. Flash in the pan,
Yep.
kind of a thing. So,
Get his ass out.
yeah. The only other thing that I can really think of during the race was that Kimi literally was driving like this. Like his wheel was turned to the right. He had some kind of suspension problems where he had to slightly turn his car just to drive straight a little bit. So impressive for him to finish. I believe it was P5. Uh, impressive finish for P5. Yeah, after the McLarens and Max. But I think for my rookie of the week, it's Behrman.
Okay.
He did it in qualifying. He got P9. He got solid points. He's in a Haas. Kimmy Kimmy was good. Kimmy was good. But I will say when we watched that the highlight reel, I think
The
Behrman had
move
the
that Behrman
coolest
did,
overtake.
ooh, it was
That
slick,
was
man. That
sexy.
was
I
slick.
got a little hard watching it, not gonna lie.
Old Chubb.
It it was solid. So yeah, definitely Behrman. I think Behrman. This is for all of our listeners out there. If you watch the race, you know is a little bit of a snoozer. There wasn't much going on. But one thing that was happening, Behrman made some moves. He qualified. He made it to Q3 in a Haas. You know, like that's a piece of shit car. And he got
Yeah.
points in a Haas, a piece of shit car. So to me, rookie of the week, Behrman, good fucking shit.
And also breaking his tradition of always getting P11. So good job, Behrman.
Yeah, yeah, good for you.
Gun to head. Who's the worst rookie? Gun to head.
I don't think anybody did that bad.
5,
Unless
4,
I mean, I'm gonna give it
3.
to I'm gonna give it to Lawson because we hate Lawson. No. I'm gonna give it to this one. I really feel is unfair to anybody.
You got to give it to someone.
We're gonna go with Gabriel Bortoleto. He is the lowest ranked rookie on the race. P17. It's still better than Hulkenberg. That's what makes it hard. Is that he still beat his teammate. It was still solid.
But
But he,
take that aside, and you look at where he's stacked up against the rest of the rookies.
yes,
I think that's
it's
fair. That's a fair
it
call,
is fair.
Sam.
It is fair because you know what? The person in front of him was Colapinto. The person
Yep.
in front of that, Liam Lawson.
Yep.
It's it's one of those things that I don't. Gabriel, when you listen to this specifically, the Cooldown Rundown podcast, don't get upset. We're not mad at you. We had to
You're
give the
just
reward.
trash. You're just trash.
We just had to give it to somebody. But it's one of those things that, like, honestly, nobody had a bad weekend. Really, nobody. If anything, I might just give it to Kimmy out of spite because he should have beat the McLarens because George won the race. But that feels harsh. So, Gabby, I'm sorry, but you got worse rookie.
And that's okay. But Sam,
Ryan.
that brings us into our other segment. Our favorite one. You have a drink in your hand, Sam. You're not supposed to be driving under the influence. Neither are the drivers, but some people
I'm not
do.
driving, officer. It's just a podcast. I swear. I swear.
Book his ass, boys. Sam, who is our drunk driver of the race?
You really fucked me over here, Ryan, because I wanted to ask you the question who the drunk driver of the race is.
I wanted to throw you
I
off.
have two possible answers. I'll go with the easy answer and see if you dispute it. And if you
Okay.
don't, then I have a second option for you.
Okay.
I feel like there's only two really drunk moments this entire race. One was Hulkenberg spinning out of nowhere, but
Yeah.
that was kind of meh. I'm going to say my first pick will be Lando Norris. The light goes from red to green. He hits Max in his ass, and then he hits like he's on a fucking caravan. He's on a road trip with his buddy, and he somehow rear-ended the guy in front of him and then sideswiped his teammate. I feel like that's enough to, like, Piastri's pissing off because his other teammate's too drunk to drive. I feel like Lando Norris is a solid option for drunk driver, but I'm kind of curious what your answer is.
No, I agree with you. It literally was the two same. It was either Nico or Lando, and I would probably have to say Lando because, like, yeah, Nico spun out, and if I'm in an Uber and that happens, I'm gonna be a little upset. But I'm also gonna be equally upset if I'm in an Uber and he just plays bumper cars with everyone around me when we're just getting to start off the race or just getting to the airport, right? So yeah, I think it's warranted for Lando. That shouldn't have happened. You damaged your car. You got a little fender bender. You got some scratches on the car now. That's a few grand based on insurance standards these days. So, yeah, I think Lando's deserving of that.
But Ryan, we always have one designated driver. Who is your DD of the Singapore Grand Prix.
It's the most boring pick possible, and it's the person we forgot about for half this episode, Sam, is George Russell. I mean, he drove a clean race. He had a great qualifying. He got us there as quick as possible, safe as possible. He was so good, I forgot I was in the car with him. I just teleported to my destination, Sam. It has to be George in my mind.
I might give it to you. I may. I'll throw this hat in the ring just to see what you think. Another person that was forgotten, not by us, but by the media. Carlos Sainz, P18 to P10, disqualified in qualifying, gets a point in the finished race in a track that's super hard to finish. He made his way all the way up to P10. I think it's a pretty solid drive. Nobody knew about him. Everybody slept on
It is, but hey, he didn't have a legal car, Sam.
him.
He's
But
already
hey,
he's already
wasn't on
booked
the
to begin
podium.
with. He was already booked to begin with. Jail. Jail, I say.
Dale.
Jail.
Now, now I remember, Ryan, we had a slight argument about our pissed off experience driver or our Mad Dad award. Now,
Yeah.
you have some information that I don't because we asked our audience and we had some response of what we should do about the Mad Dad award. Can you share that with me now? Because I don't know.
Regretfully, I have to say you have won this argument, Sam. The fans have voted in your favor. It can be anyone, which I disagree with. I want that to be known, chat. I hate
Well,
all of
then
you for this. But yes, we can allow it to be more than the drivers, even though that doesn't make any fucking sense to me. You voted it. It is now written into law. And you know what? Unlike the U.S. government, we follow the law here at the
I was going to
Cooldown
say
Rundown.
democracy wins, Ryan. Democracy wins. Thank you, whoever voted for it. And if you disagree, you miss your chance. We are out of session. The government is shut down. Nobody's voting again.
Yep. So we
Open
the
season.
Pandora's box has officially been open, and we
Hell
can have
yeah.
anyone be pissed off driver.
Hell yeah. Or Mad Dad.
Yes, Mad Dad. Whatever we want to call it. Whatever we want to call this fucking award.
I'm so glad that worked my way because I was ready to argue against it. So I am fine with that.
Oh, you would have argued against the votes? Wow. Okay.
I would have totally respected our democracy and then just changed the bylaws next season. But we don't have to do that because democracy voted me in, so it's fine.
Rigged election, I say.
You know.
But okay, Sam. Well, now that we've gotten into this, let me ask you, who is your pissed off experience driver or Mad Dad award?
I think the obvious answer is Oscar Piastri, obviously. But I think a good option is Fernando Alonso.
Okay, I am torn on both. They are both equally as good to me, and I just want to talk about this because I think Oscar. I think the safest bet is Oscar, and I honestly do think it's the most deserving. So I'll be in the corner for Oscar because he was pissed off the entire race, and this man was so fucking salty and so petty that at the end of the race, this dude cut off his fucking CEO of racing for the entire McLaren Motorsport mid-sentence, and we have that on record, and that is so cunty of him. I love it. I love it, Sam, so much. I feel like we have to give it to him. But Fernando, the old-ass man of Formula One, was also equally as pissed off. For whatever fucking reason it was. I don't even know why he was pissed off. But it was just the radio message. When the radio
message was clear.
Yeah, for the fans that don't know, his engineer was counting down the laps or however many were left, and he said 34 to go. And Fernando says, if you keep telling me this, I'm going to disconnect the radio. And it was just so fucking hilarious because it was just so random. It made no goddamn sense. Like, he wasn't having a bad race. He was having, I think, just an average subpar race for Aston Martin. He just felt so compelled to be so bitchy with his engineer. That was hilarious. It really was. But I will tote the line, and I will still stand by Oscar.
I'm going to actually make this our question to the audience. I want to know what they think because I think the obvious answer is Oscar as well. He was upset lap 1, he was upset lap 52. Like, when the whatever they finished, he was mad. He was literally mad the entire time. But I do think there's a little bit of credence to Alonso saying that if we talk about mad dad, it's about how your dad reacts to it. That is such a dad comment. Like, if you keep bugging me, we're not going to Disneyland. I swear to
Yep. I
Christ.
will
We're
turn this
not doing
fucking
it.
car around.
I will turn it around. I'm so goddamn pissed. Like, that's some peak dad energy. But I'm with you. I do think the obvious answer is Oscar, but I want to throw a little bit of heat towards Alonso's way. So everybody who's listening, let us know. Please let us know if you guys have an option. Let us know your thoughts.
Yeah,
But
throw your option into our poll too, or in the comments. We would love to hear what you have to say. Who knows? Maybe we missed something completely. Who knows? Maybe there's a hidden
oh,
radio
dude,
message of
dude,
Lewis being pissed
yes.
off.
If you have something, let us know. This is a joint venture. We're learning along the way, and we want to be a part of it. I think it's great. Brian, we're going to the best race of the entire goddamn world. It's in Texas. Everything's bigger in Texas.
America, fuck yeah!
Now, we already discussed it a little bit, but who do you have winning the Texas Grand Prix? Circuit of the Americas Grand Prix.
I do think it's Max. I just have a hunch. I think he's going to do it. I do. And maybe I'm just feeding into the delusion that I just want some spice at the end of the season because it's been boring. But fuck it, man. Let's do it. Let's see what Max can do.
I'm a very reserved fan. I don't like to get my hopes up, but I think I'm hyping on the hype train. I think I need to go. I need to dive into the deep end, and it's Max all the way. Max is winning every race for the rest of the season. It's
Okay.
him.
Okay.
He's even winning Qatar. I swear to God.
All right. Well, we'll see you soon, chat.
Take it easy, boys and girls.